by his noticing that she looked out of spirits, and asking if anything had gone wrong at the cottage. The artful little minx lost no time in making the necessary impression on him. She began to cry. He took her hand, of course, and tried in his brutishly straightforward way to comfort her. No, she was not to be comforted. A miserable prospect was before her. She had not slept the whole night for thinking of it. Her father had called her into his room the previous evening, had spoken about the state of her education, and had told her in so many words that she was to go to school. The place had been found, and the terms had been settled, and as soon as her clothes could be got ready, Miss was to go. "While that hateful Miss Gwilt was in my house," says this model young person, "I would have gone to school willingly. I wanted to go. But it's all different now. I don't think of it in the same way. I feel too old for school. I'm quite heartbroken, Mr. Armadale." There she stopped, as if she had meant to say more, and gave him a look which finished the sentence plainly. "I'm quite heartbroken, Mr. Armadale, now we are friendly again, at going away from you. For downright brazen impudence, which a grown woman would be ashamed of. Give me the young girls whose modesty is so pertinaciously insisted on by the nauseous domestic sentimentalists of the present day." Even Armadale, booby as he is, understood her. After bewildering himself in a labyrinth of words that led nowhere, he took her, one can hardly say round the waist, for she hasn't got one. He took her round the last hook and eye of her dress, and by way of offering her a refuge from the indignity of being sent to school at her age, made her a proposal of marriage in so many words. If I could have killed them both at that moment by lifting up my little finger, I have not the least doubt that I should have lifted it. As things were, I only waited to see what Miss Milroy would do. She appeared to think it necessary, feeling, I suppose, that she had met him without her father's knowledge, and not forgetting that I had had the start of her as the favourite object of Mr. Armadale's good opinion, to assert herself by an explosion of virtuous indignation. She wondered how he could think of such a thing after his conduct with Miss Gwilt, and after her father had forbidden him the house. Did he want to make her feel how inexcusably she had forgotten what was due to herself? Was it worthy of a gentleman to propose what he knew as well as she did was impossible? And so on, and so on. Any man with brains in his head would have known what all this rhodomontade really meant. Armadale took it so seriously that he actually attempted to justify himself. He declared, in his headlong, blundering way, that he was quite in earnest. He and her father might make it up and be friends again, and, if the Major persisted in treating him as a stranger, young ladies and gentlemen in their situation had made runaway marriages before now, and fathers and mothers who wouldn't forgive them before had forgiven them afterward. Such outrageously straightforward love-making as this left Miss Milroy, of course, but two alternatives: to confess that she had been saying no when she meant yes, or to take refuge in another explosion. She was hypocrite enough to prefer another explosion. "How dare you, Mr. Armadale? Go away directly. It's inconsiderate, it's heartless, it's perfectly disgraceful to say such things to me," and so on, and so on. It seems incredible, but it is not the less true, that he was positively fool enough to take her at her word. He begged her pardon, and went away like a child that is put in the corner, the most contemptible object in the form of a man that eyes ever looked on. She waited after he had gone to compose herself, and I waited behind the trees to see how she would succeed. Her eyes wandered round slyly to the path by which he had left her. She smiled, grinned would be the truer way of putting it, with such a mouth as hers, took a few steps on tiptoe to look after him, turned back again, and suddenly burst into a violent fit of crying. I am not quite so easily taken in as Armadale, and I saw what it all meant plainly enough. "To-morrow," I thought to myself, "you will be in the park again, miss, by pure accident. The next day you will lead him on into proposing to you for the second time. The day after he will venture back to the subject of runaway marriages, and you will only be becomingly confused. And the day after that, if he has got a plan to propose, and if your clothes are ready to be packed for school, you will listen to him. Yes, yes, time is always on the man's side, where a woman is concerned, if the man is only patient enough to let time help him." I let her leave the place and go back to the cottage, quite unconscious that I had been looking at her. I waited among the trees, thinking. The truth is, I was impressed by what I had heard and seen, in a manner that is not very easy to describe. I put the whole thing before me in a new light. It showed me, what I had never even suspected till this morning, that she is really fond of him. Heavy as my debt of obligation is to her, there is no fear now of my failing to pay it to the last farthing. It would have been no small triumph for me to stand between Miss Milroy and her ambition to be one of the leading ladies of the county. But it is infinitely more where her first love is concerned, to stand between Miss Milroy and her heart's desire. Shall I remember my own youth and spare her? No. She has deprived me of the one chance I had of breaking the chain that binds me to a past life too horrible to be thought of. I am thrown back into a position, compared to which the position of an outcast who walks the streets is endurable and enviable. No, Miss Milroy, no, Mr. Armadale, I will spare neither of you. End of Chapter 10, Part 1.